Going on, Falcon fan? This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So today we're gonna talk about, are the Falcons in a rebuild? So guys, before we get into that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please hit the share button so my video can go throughout the YouTube universe so no people come and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So before we get into the topic of the day, it's been kind of quiet the last couple of days for the Atlanta Falcons. There's rumors that they're talking about working on an extension with Grady Jarrett. Be interesting to see if they get that done. If he's planning on staying here. I kind of think they're kind of waiting on the Aaron Donald contract to be signed because they play the same position, and they can kind of get him a gauge or where Grady's going to be. Of course, he's not going to get Aaron Donald money, but he could be that caliber player. So I think he's probably trying to wait to see what kind of contract a defensive tackle like Aaron Donald gets. Then he might end up signing. I think that's him and his agent probably thinking about. But they did bring in another player today, Marlowe, safety. Played with the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. He had 12 starts. Not 12, 9 starts with the Detroit Lions last year. 67 tackles, 37 solo. So he has a lot of experience. Not a whole lot, but enough that we could definitely boost our safety room again. Another veteran coming in to be with Jalen Hawkins and Richard Grant. Sort of like they did last year when they brought in Deron Harmon. And of course, they brought Averys Harris back as well. That brings us to 16 guys they have signed this offseason, including the guys that we had here last year, of course. So 16 signings they have signed this year. Like I said, they've been busy this offseason. So you like to see that about the Falcons. And the way I look at it, the guys they sign is lower risk, high reward, 1-year deals. If these guys pan out, like I said, they didn't pay a lot to get a look at them this year. These guys gonna get opportunities, just like Cordell Patterson did last year. And if these guys could come in and ball out and show something, show some potential, because most of these guys never really got the opportunity that they're going to get this year on this team, so we can actually get to see what they made of. So hopefully these guys that we brought in can be contributors this year to this team. So we just have to see. I still don't think they're done before the draft. Like I said, if they do decide to extend Grady Jarrett and they agree on the deal, of course they're gonna open up some more cap space for us. Of course, we're gonna need some money for our draft picks, but it still probably leave us some more room that we can actually bring in some more guys into this roster to add to our depth, and that's the most important thing, add to the depth. I just love the way these guys are building this team. They got a lot of depth, and I think our secondary is definitely now one of the strongest parts of this team is our secondary, with the signing of Casey Hayward, bringing back Chris Harris, and now bringing in Marlowe, and of course Isaiah Oliver. Is Isaiah Oliver can pick up where he left off last year, and of course Casey Hayward do what he's been doing his career, along with the emergence of AJ Terrell. And then, like I said, with the mixer of those young safeties and those veteran safeties they just brought in, I think our secondary can be pretty decent this year. So I love the additions they made. Also, which means that they might not go safety in this draft or go secondary in the draft, not early anyway. Of course, if you remember, we actually picked up 2 cornerbacks last year as well. We still got Kenny Sheffield on the team. We got Darren Hall, and we got Avery Williams. So I feel like our secondary is pretty much in a good spot right now. All right, so let's get to the topic today. And of course, everybody want to talk about the Falcons are in a rebuild. And I guess we just have to kind of define what that means. In my definition of a rebuild, is that you pretty much break everything down and then start over. You bring in a lot of young talent and see some of these young talented guys could actually, do something. Of course, they got some great young talent on the team. Of course, the phenom we drafted last year, Kyle Pitts. Like I said, AJ Terrell, Chris Lindstrom. We got some young talent on this team. All right, then we got some mid-level guys that's not so young, like a Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, who's a lot of people think he's hit or miss his production last year. And then, of course, Jake Matthews, who they actually extended this year. Our phenom kicker that we got, Younghoe Koo. So it's a mixture of things. I think that they're not in a rebuild. And the reason I want to say they're not in a rebuild, because when we came into this season, we had 4 big contracts: Matt Ryan, Grady Jarrett, Jake Matthews, and Deion Jones. Right? I would think a rebuild would be like, let's get rid of all those guys. Let's get rid of all those big contracts that we have, and let's just start over. I think that's the definition, in my opinion, of a rebuild. I think this is more of a retool. And the reason I say that, because usually when a rebuild happens, the regime in its first year, and I know a lot of people thought they was going to do this. They was going to draft a quarterback last year and pretty much start the rebuild last year, so-called rebuild last year. However, I think what they did was they came in. Arthur Smith wanted to establish a culture, which he did. Like I said, guys, we went 7-2 in 1-score games. On the flip side, when we was 4-12, we lost almost every last one of those games that we had last year in that same scenario. So I think he is building a culture here, and I think he's building that. We want to change the idea that the Falcons can't win in situational football. He really harps on the situational football. Of course, if you look at some of the games, some of the situations, some people thought that he kind of fumbled the bag a couple of times. That Washington football game that we played, a lot of people thought some of his play calling kind of, but I think he has the right mindset of playing situational football, and I think that's the way that we need to move going forward. So I don't think that the way we finished the season last year, going 7-10, trying to build that culture, that you want to strip it all down and start all over. Yes, I think the big deal that we lost our quarterback, our franchise quarterback, so that says a lot. In football, the quarterback is pretty much what you need to actually have a successful team. There's been some instances where some teams have been successful with a quote unquote non-franchise quarterback, and they have won lightning in the bottom year, and they get to the Super Bowl like the Baltimore Ravens. But that defense was one of the most spectacular defense in NFL history. So if you want to use that for an example, of course, the Chicago 85 Bears. Some people say Jim McMahon was not a franchise quarterback. So I think if you got like one side of your team that's one of those generational teams, like the greatest show on turf, like the Atlanta Falcons in 2016 offense, like the Baltimore Ravens defense, like the Chicago Bears defense, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, maybe you can get away with having the other side of the team not so great. All right, because all they have to do not lose the game for you. They just got to manage it on that end, and the other side is going to actually do the thing. So I don't think that's the way to build a team. That's why that only lasts for a small amount of time, those guys never kind of create that dynasty like the Patriots teams did, like the 49ers teams did, like the Buffalo Bills team in the 90s, where, of course, they never won a Super Bowl, but going to 4 straight Super Bowls is tough. And those guys being able to do that, I thought was something spectacular as well. But of course, the Steelers back in the 70s and things like that. Of course, I don't remember those guys that much. I'm not that old, but but just looking at the way you structure a football team. Now, it has been some rebuilds as I worked in other sports. Chicago Cubs, the Golden State Warriors, the Kansas City Royals, when teams stripped their team all the way down and rebuilt them right all the way up. And, from a standpoint like the Warriors, they actually created a dynasty that way. Went to 5 NBA Finals, and they won 3 of them. So just put that in perspective. And so it's just some things that you would have to think about for as sport franchises. However, in football, I think it's a little bit different. So that brings us to the Falcons. Like I said, I don't think they're in a rebuild. I think what they did was they actually got rid of one of the major hurdles that they had to get rid of this year, and that was the cap. All right, these guys came into this team, and they was in so-called cap hell. They knew this. All right. And no fault to the players that was on the team. Of course, these guys was trying to go win it. That's why they did what they did. I'm not faulting the former regime the way they did it, because they had a prolific offense and they built on that side, but they kind of neglected the other side of the ball. And at this point, when the offense couldn't do it anymore, and you got all these big contracts, all this dead cap with your quarterback, this is what you end up with. So they had to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Of course, this year we're going to be in the dead cap, probably the highest in NFL history, with the $62 million going into the season. However, next year, I think they're going to be sitting pretty good as far as one of the teams with the most cap space for an NFL team. And I think they won't be as bad as everybody think this year because of the foundations that's being set. Like I said, guys, I think they did been doing a great job this offseason building this team to be competitive this year. A lot of these guys on 1-year deals, but these guys are pros. They want to come in, they want to try to compete, and I think this team is going to be competitive. You have some guys like the quarterback, Marcus Mariota, who want to prove that he's still a starter in this league, and I think he's going to play like that. We still got the phenom Kyle Pitts, who I think is going to be even better this year, moving from year 1 to year 2. We was able to bring back Cordell Patterson. AJ Terrell is going to get better. We still got that left tackle on the side, Jake Matthews, who's going to be anchoring that blind side for Marcus Mariota this year. And then whatever we can be able to do in the draft to actually build the depth, in which some of those young guys going to have to come in and contribute right away as well. So I don't look at it as a rebuild. I look at it more as a retool. I do think that as a fan base, we do need to manage our expectations, because this team is, like I said, it's another makeshift team put together from just like last year, a lot of guys that have not played together. And this time we don't even have the quarterback, that's been here for over a decade to actually lead the way. So it's going to be challenging. I do believe that, but I still believe that these guys going to come out and they're going to compete every year, because that's the culture that this coaching staff is trying to build here, and I believe that it's going to work out for us in the long run. Because if we could show some grit, show some competitive spirit this year, when we go in off season next year, you can be able to attract free agents if they can see this team could be an up and coming team. I think it's a horrible idea for any team to try to tank. I know that this coaching staff is not thinking about a tank this year for no potential quarterbacks or anything like that. I think they're going to come out, they're going to compete, they're going to actually try to win, and try to get into the playoffs. And then we don't know what happens after that. So that's just the way I believe. I'm really interested what you guys think. Do you think we in rebuild? And if you think we're in rebuild just because we don't have a franchise quarterback, even though franchise quarterback is really important for any team to actually have long-term success. But I really believe, I think Marcus Mariota going to come out and he's going to play great this year. Of course, we don't have any weapons, unknown commodities at the receiver position, except for Kyle Pitts. But I think these guys going to come out and they're going to play hard. They're going to play tough football for this team. And some of the pieces that from last year are here this year. So they're going to be able to kind of lead these new guys, these young guys, and trying to put that scheme that's already was in place last year to work this year. Hopefully, especially on the defensive side, hopefully Grady's still here. He could lead the way from that effort. And then from an offensive standpoint, hopefully Marcus Mariota have that familiarity with Arthur Smith, and we can kind of hit it off on that side of the ball as well. So like I said, guys, I don't think we're in a rebuild. I get it that we lost our franchise quarterback. We have no expectations this year, which sometimes can make a team dangerous. All right, go in, nobody expect us to win. Everybody counting us out, and these guys could come together as the underdogs and shock the world. So we just have to see what happens. Like I said, I am going to manage my expectations. I'm not expecting a whole lot, but I expect these guys to compete every week, from week 1 all the way to week 18 now. So it's a lot of games. But guys, so just let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it's a rebuild, or what I'm gonna say, it's a retool. I don't like the tank thing. I don't like people to think we're just going to try to lose as many games we can. These guys are professionals. These coaches get paid to try to win games, and if you build a team the right way, you don't have to tank, because the pieces you're bringing in want to get better and better and better. You don't want to bring pieces in to suck. So that's not what these guys trying to create. I think they're trying to build a complete team, and see what we can do here in the near future. So guys, please let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. It's a rebuild, retooled, or like the coaching staff and the front office saying, it's a transition period where we just moved away from some of our cornerstone pieces that we had. Julio Jones the year before, Matt Ryan this year. We still have some cornerstone pieces here. We still have, like I said, Jake Matthews and Grady Jarrett. And we have some young, talented players on this team as well, and Kyle Pitts and AJ Terrell. So That's all I got, guys. I will be hitting you up later. Hopefully we get some news later on this week about some more signings. And these guys keep building the team. So that's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.